Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you all for yet another session where we shall be discussing various aspects of gynecology as to laparoscopic surgery, women's health issues, and but not just hysterectomies. We shall go a step beyond our normal discussions. This session is, of course, it was not planned, but it is in continuation to our last discussion, because after the last talk, we consistently got so many queries this week because we had no other option but to hold this yet another discussion. So we have all come together to unravel the mysteries in laparoscopic surgery and gynec surgeries. So without much further ado, you all very well know, but our two renowned guests today, this afternoon are Dr. Parul Khordawala, it's a very senior name in the fraternity. Welcome, Dr. Parul. And Dr. Santwan Mehta, who is a young and vibrant gynec surgeon who shall be joining us and give us some tidbits on the same. So, Dr. Parul, my first question is to you. How is a laparoscopic surgery performed?
Okay. I believe I'll have to use some figures and videos to explain that. I'll share
okay, sir.
slide with you. I believe it is visible now.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Now, see, lapros is abdomen or tummy, and looking inside is called laparoscopy. We cannot see inside the tummy without putting a hole in our abdomen or tummy. So we put a small cut just below the umbilicus or just above the umbilicus and look inside. This is the women's genital structure. This is the uterus. This is the vagina. This is the cervix. There are two fallopian tubes on either side, and these are the ovaries, or what we call as egg baskets. They are in pairs, two egg baskets, two tubes, single uterus, single cervix, and single vagina. Now, many pathologies are depicted here. This is, you may have heard these names before: fibroid, adenomyosis, endometriosis, polyp, then adhesions, ovarian cyst, ectopic pregnancy. So all these things are suffered by women. And this is a short video just to show how nicely it is seen in actuality. Oh, I think that video is not playing. So this is how we look inside, and this is what we see. This is the fallopian tube on either side. This is the ovary, and this is the uterus or womb. So you can see how beautifully these are all small blood vessels. They are also seen. And so we can identify the structures well. There is a lot of illumination. And so we can do very minor and minute things also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Santwan, my first question to you is, uterus is a pretty big organ. So how is it possible really to remove a big organ like uterus, or sometimes the fibroids, which are pretty massive, through a tiny incision or a hole? So could you shed some light on that?
Yes, this is a very good question, and मेरे बहुत सारे पेशेंट ये क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं कि कभी-कभी यूट्रस या फिर फाइब्रोइड की गठन होती है, वो लगभग 15-20 सेंटीमीटर जितनी बड़ी होती है, तो फिर आप इतने छोटे इंसिजन में से कैसे निकाल लेते हैं? Actually, we have very specialized instrument because of which we can convert this larger specimen into tiny small pieces, and then these pieces can be taken out of the abdomen through the tiny incisions only, or in cases of hysterectomy, we can remove this bigger incision through the vaginal route also.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Parul, which other procedures can be done via laparoscopy, as in with the laparoscope? Which other procedures can be done?
So the one and foremost is right. Now you can see this video. I'm looking inside, and this is how we see small little tiny spots here. This is called endometriosis. We operate on endometriosis also. This is the blood vessel supplying the uterus. Then this is the ureter, so the tube which carries urine from kidney to the bladder. These are the ovaries. This is opposite side ureter. So you look inside the abdomen and see all the structures that are there. This is the pelvis where the gynec structures are. But then you can also turn around and see, this is the liver. These are some.
So we are getting a complete view.
And then you can see the stomach, then the diaphragm, the membrane between abdomen and the chest. So you all around, and wherever there is a problem, you can tackle that. That is appendix. So you would really feel amazed that the first appendicectomy through laparoscope was performed by a gynecologist. And then you start performing various procedures, like this is a PCO drilling. Polycystic ovary is seen more and more nowadays. So PCO drilling is a very common procedure people perform. Now these are fibroids, which Santwan talked about. So removal of fibroid and reshaping the uterus. So various fibroids can be tackled through laparoscope, and if they are inside the uterus, then hysteroscopy is used. This is chocolate cyst of ovary. This is dermoid cyst. These are the surface endometriosis. Then ectopic pregnancy in fallopian tube. Here also, tubal pregnancy used to be a very big problem. Adhesions, when the structures are stuck to each other. This is the intestine stuck up to the uterus. This causes a lot of pain and sometimes infertility. So all these problems we can tackle. And when we perform laparoscopy, you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4 little cuts we put. From one, we put in a scope through which we can see, and the 3 others are for the instruments like scissors, grasper, something like that. So this is how we take care of various surgeries inside, and almost all surgeries which we used to do with open technique have been replaced by laparoscopy.
Dr. Santwan, my next question to you is, what is a hysteroscopy, and when can a hysteroscopy as a procedure be useful?
Okay, so as Parul sir has said that laparoscopy is to visualize the structure inside the lapro, means the abdomen. Hysteroscopy is to visualize the inside of the uterus, inside the womb. Actually, there are so many gynec conditions in which this inside lining of the uterus is affected. जैसे कि 40-45 years के बाद या उसके बाद भी कई महिलाओं को periods irregular हो जाते हैं, और तो उनके गर्भाशय के अंदर की दीवार में abnormal growth हो, endometrial cancer यानी कि गर्भाशय के अंदर की दीवार का कैंसर, या फिर polyps या submucous fibroid होते हैं, तो इन सभी conditions में with the hysteroscopy you can accurately diagnose the condition, and in the same sitting you can treat them also. There are some conditions like गर्भाशय में पर्दा यानी कि septum होता है. In cases यहाँ पे महिलाओं को pregnancy तो रह जाती है, लेकिन recurrent abortions होता है, तो this septum can also be cut with the hysteroscopy procedure. One good thing about the hysteroscopy is it is just 10 to 15 minutes procedure only, and in some conditions with specialized hysteroscope you can perform this procedure without any anesthesia also.
Like on office base, like on OPD.
Yes, we have a term called office hysteroscopy also.
Office hysteroscopy.
Exactly. So like you can diagnose the condition very precisely and very accurately, and you can further plan the treatment also.
Okay. Dr. Parul, can laparoscopy be of any use or advice for couples who are trying to have a baby, or can it be of any use for couples who are trying for pregnancy?
Of course. See, for achieving a pregnancy, you need a normal anatomy. That means structures have to be normal. And a fertility specialist then focuses on the functions of the organs and uses them to achieve pregnancy. Now, to know the normal structure, we need to use a laparoscope and a hysteroscope in combination. So we look inside the uterus as well as we look outside the uterus also. So we look inside the uterus. If there is anything projecting inside, then we can take care, as Santuan spoke about, the see, these are all the structures inside. Polyps, the endometrial polyps, fibroids, all this can be tackled via hysteroscope gone inside. And all these outside structures, we tackle whether the tube is open or not. If there is an ectopic, if tube is blocked, then we can even cut and reattach the tube. If ovary requires some surgery, removal of cyst or adhesion, we can do that also. So for any structural problems, we use hysteroscopy and laparoscopy. But for the function, that ovulation, medication for that, IUI, all those procedures are handled by the fertility specialist. So it is a combination of surgeon and fertility specialist which can give the best result for the couple who is trying to be pregnant.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. Now, this is a question which I have received as a request to be asked specifically, because there have been obtained articles suggesting that there are certain conditions under which laparoscopic surgery is contraindicated, especially a surgery like hysterectomy. So, Dr. Santuan, my next question to you is that, is it safe to perform laparoscopic in patients which have undergone previous surgeries or who have any specific condition which can hold true as a contraindication for that?
Okay, so देखिए, जब भी कभी अपने शरीर पे कोई भी ऑपरेशन होता है, पेट पर कोई ऑपरेशन होता है, तो there are chances that the structures inside the abdomen, like the uterus or the intestine or the bladder means the urine bag, all the structure can get attached to each other. In medical terms, we call it as adhesions. So due to these adhesions, during the procedure, there are chances that these normal surrounding structures may also get, injured, or it may get some trauma during the surgery. But with the laparoscopy, we use highly magnified view, and we have a very clear delineation of all the anatomical landmark. So laparoscopy की वजह से हम गर्भाशय को ब्लैडर है या फिर इंटेस्टाइन है उससे अच्छी तरह से सेपरेट करके हमारी कोई भी designated procedure complete कर सकते हैं. Second thing, as you mentioned, that if someone would ask me that previous patient को अगर TB या ऐसा कोई इन्फेक्शन हो गया हो या फिर हाइपरटेंशन या डायबिटीज जैसी मेडिकल डिसऑर्डर हो, तो उसमें लेप्रोस्कोपी कर सकते हैं कि नहीं? So I would like to tell that in laparoscopy we use general anesthesia, and as for any other major surgery, we take physician and anesthetic fitness of the patient before performing this procedure. So अगर अच्छे से patient का workup हो गया है, patient's body, her heart, lungs, and everything are good enough to undergo the procedure, she can definitely undergo the laparoscopic procedure with this by controlling all these long-term medical conditions.
So we can add a few things in what Santuan said. One is technical part and one is the logistic part. The logistic part is anesthesia. We put the patient in head-low situation. So any condition of heart or lung which are problem for general anesthesia may be a relative contraindication. However, with physician's concurrence, we may do this.
So we have to weigh the risk of the surgery.
Exactly.
Yes.
The risk of anesthesia and body.
Yes.
But technical part is when there is a very large tumor, then we are not going to be able to remove it through a small cut. And to cut it into small pieces may take a couple of hours.
It is a longer. Yes, right.
We may not, we avoid that and perform a regular cut surgery. So accordingly, the basically main thing is size of the organ which we are supposed to remove or operate upon. Then if intestines are very densely stuck up, then we are likely to damage the intestine. In this situation, an open surgery becomes a better option. So
Better
sometimes we
option.
may convert during surgery from a laparoscopy to an open surgery. But ultimately, everything is done for the benefit of patient and
Benefit patient.
recovery.
Right, sir. So, sir, my next question is that there are different types of hysterectomy. So, how do you distinguish between when a patient comes between transvaginal? How is the approach decided? Transvaginal, open, lap.
Okay, Santan, you are tackling. I'm fine. See, I offer my patient all three options.
Okay.
But I discuss with them what is good for them. So in days bygone, because of many deliveries, patients had slight bit of prolapse. So the uterus was mobile. When we pull it down, it would come down a little bit. Then it was easy to perform it through vagina.
Okay.
Now, with lesser number of deliveries and most of them being cesareans, the bladder is stuck up to the uterus and uterus mobility is less. So vaginal hysterectomy becomes slightly complex. Then if there are any other pathologies inside, in vaginal hysterectomy, we can't see inside. It is partly blinded procedure. We can only see the lowermost part of it. But say if there is a cyst in ovary, we can't see that. If ovary is stuck up with an intestine up there, we can't see that. So those things can be missed and sometimes inadvertently injured. So only in a simple case, we may offer vaginal hysterectomy. Vaginal hysterectomy is always better because there are no cuts at all. With laparoscopy, there are few cuts, but it is under vision surgery. So you can look around and know everything inside what is happening. So that way, first choice is vaginal, but possibilities approximately 25 to 30%. Then laparoscopy about 50 to 70%, and hardly 10% or even 5% would be conventional open hysterectomy, which is by and large now replaced by the laparoscopy.
Laparoscopy.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. That caters to answering all of our classification queries. Dr. Santan, there is a common myth that laparoscopic surgery is costlier or expensive compared to open surgery. What do you have to say on that?
Okay, so from the outset, as we see that with the laparoscopy, we use advanced instrument. Then we also go for the general anesthesia. So the cost of the laparoscopy may appear to be higher than the conventional surgery. But if you consider all the aspects, like, because of the laparoscopy, there is a faster recovery to the patient. There is very less pain to the patient. So the hospital stay of the patient is very less. Like we are offering just 24 hours of the hospital stay. So that expense can be cut down. And again, patient can resume her job or any of her financial activities as early as possible. So overall, if you see and compare both the things, I feel they are like, laparoscopy and conventional are both the same as regard to the financial thing.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Parwal, could you give us some idea about the concept of morcellation, or where is it surgically used, and what are the pros and cons of it?
So let me give you a little bit of background on this. See, fibroid, most of the older textbooks of gynecology used to mention fibroid as benign condition. It would very rarely become a cancerous thing. 1 in 20,000 was the quoted rate when I was a student. But when morcellation came up, it was, as I said, fibroid is this big and your cut is this. How are you going to take it out of the body? So there was a machine developed which would make coring of the fibroid into small pieces, and then we used to take them. But then small little bit of pieces or some fluid used to be put into the abdominal cavity. And one lady, anesthetist, she underwent a hysterectomy, and her doctor performed a morcellation to remove a large uterus fibroid outside. And she developed cancer. Subsequently, people have started gathering data, and now we know that it is not that very uncommon, but still it is uncommon. 2 to 3 per 1,000 fibroids would become malignant. But still, even to safeguard that, now we have developed removal of fibroid inside a bag. So there is no tissue which is spilled inside. I have a very short video which would perhaps explain better way what I'm talking about.
Right, sir.
Let us see that. So this is a bag which we insert inside the,
Okay.
and then we open the bag. It is a very large plastic bag, and see, we are putting the fibroid inside this bag. Okay.
Okay.
Then there are two, so one more fibroid is also put, which is smaller one. And now we are taking out a larger mouth of the bag so that it is a closed bag inside. This bag has two openings. One larger opening through which we have placed fibroid inside, and now we are taking out that opening. And you can see this is the outside view, and I am passing my finger. So it is this wide an opening. And then the other end is out from the navel or umbilicus. And in that we are placing the scope. So now we are looking inside, and from here the morcellator, the machine which I spoke about, which makes small pieces of fibroid, is now used. And you can see now we are taking out pieces of fibroid in this manner. The inner core is gradually cutting away and eating up the fibroid. So it is all taken out. Now you can see this is totally closed. Small pieces are all inside the bag. Nothing is going outside. So that even if there are cancer cells, they are not going to contaminate any structure inside. And so we safeguard. You can see small little pieces everywhere. We again look around that anything is left out like this and take all of them out. And then we close this mouth. And as you can see, we are pulling out the bag. So that way, we do not put anything inside. This is the location from which fibroid was removed, and that part is sutured inside. So this way, we are safeguarding patients against cancer. Hello, Dr. Chaitsi.
I think Dr. Chaitsi's connection.
Santwan?
Yes, sir.
Maybe you can provide some more information to the people who are listening to us.
Sir, I think we can also discuss, we can look ahead with all the slides which you are showing for the polyps and the fibroids.
Okay.
How different types of, yes, sir, different types of the fibroids and how it affects how we can remove it.
Okay. Okay, you can speak on this, please.
Yes, so as you can see that
this is the submucous fibroid, no? This one and this one.
Yes. Yes, and then there are two other intramural fibroids.
This is inside the wall, so we call it intramural.
Okay, and then there are two bigger one pedunculated subserosal fibroids.
So these are on the outer
Welcome,
side.
Dr. Chaitsi.
Yes, yes. Chaitsi, your phone, we will have to rotate it. Yeah. Okay, now we are.
Thank you, sir. So, back on from morcellation. Last but not the least, my question is to Dr. Santwan. Dr. Santwan, what exactly does your program at Zydus Hospital is offering? What is it that you would like to add to the concept and the discussions that we've done till now so far on the subject? Could you let us know that?
Okay, so we are coming out with a very novel and a very comfortable program for the patient's benefit. That is a 24-hour hysterectomy program. So in this program, like we are admitting the patient, performing the procedure, and discharging the patient within 24 hours time. Because we believe that the women are the the pillar of their family, and they should not be held away from their your family or from their job for a longer duration of time. And see, this laparoscopy is a very specialized and very advanced technique, and like that you need to, like, the doctor need to have a special training to perform this procedure, or doctor need to have proper expertise to perform this procedure. Then again, this procedure is dependent upon the instruments. So the OT setup, the instruments, all the machineries and everything has to be the latest one of the state of art. Advanced technology should be there. Then again, as you have seen that in the laparoscopy you are using 3 ports, so that your operating team, like the OT support staff and all those have been properly trained to assist you in this procedure. So this is the basic technical part. And after that, once the surgery is performed, then you need a supportive care to the patient also. Like patient should
Ancillary
be
services.
exactly like we have a wonderful nursing team. Along with them, we have a physiotherapist and a dietitian. Like after performing the surgery, you won't believe, but we are asking the patient to move around without any tubes or catheter or anything within 4 to 6 hours after the surgery. Like on the same day, we perform the surgery at around 9 o'clock, and on the same day at 4 o'clock, she is moving around in her room. We start the fluids and orally some light food or something like that by 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and the patient is ready to get discharged the next day morning at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock.
Okay, that is absolutely lovely, Dr. Santwan. Dr. Parul, Dr. Santwan, thank you so much for joining here for this session. When last week we had met, we had hoped that we would discuss the queries to resolve the doubts which we have received. And today, I hope that we have answered all of those doubts. If there are any
Absolutely.
queries from any of our viewers, we would more than welcome them, and we would look forward to resolving them on our web platform. Thank you so much for joining us, and bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.